Oh yeah, so your Chiefs and my Ravens face off this weekend. Yeah, they're both looking at 1-3 starts between the two. Who do you
Yeah.
think has more on the line?
Listen, I saw Orlovsky this morning say it's clearly the Chiefs. I know that the Chiefs are the team that people have been far more panicked about than Baltimore. I think people have this flatly wrong. It is, to me, unquestionably Baltimore that has more on the line, and it is for two very distinct reasons that apply to Baltimore in a way they don't apply to Kansas City. The first one is this. If we believe these, even though one of these teams is going to be 1-3, that both of these teams still have Super Bowl aspirations, and that Baltimore certainly still has Super Bowl aspirations, they have to win this game for two reasons that are related to each other. One is maybe by winning this game, you won't have to go through Kansas City in the playoffs. And by winning this game, if you do have to play Kansas City in the playoffs, you have some reason to believe you can beat them. Lamar and the Ravens have lost 5 of the 6 games they've played against Patrick and the Chiefs. They have lost 4 in a row. They have lost in Baltimore. They have lost in Kansas City. Lamar, who has the highest passer rating in the history of the NFL, has an 80 passer rating against the Chiefs. Lamar has not played a singularly great game against Kansas City, except for one time, the one time they won, and I think that was 36-35 after a Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumble, and then Baltimore went for a 4th down smartly late and iced the game. There is a massive psychological edge the Chiefs have over the Ravens. And even if the Ravens win this game, they are not going to have a psychological edge on Kansas City. And so, if the Ravens win, the Chiefs are not going to, if they were to play in the playoffs, go into that game thinking, we can't beat this team. But if the Chiefs win, how can Baltimore credibly think that the Chiefs don't simply have their number? And so I also think that the Ravens upcoming, if they fall to 1-3, a team that oddly to me, and we talked about it a lot Tuesday, felt tight and anxious in their game against Detroit, their next 2 games, home for the Texans with a great defense but a terrible offense, and then home for the Rams, that's concerning. The Chiefs, meanwhile, the game after this is Jacksonville. Now, you can say Jacksonville's better than Houston, and I know they're 2-1, Houston's 0-3, and Jacksonville just beat Houston. It still feels to me like Houston has a higher upside potentially than Jacksonville. So
The Lions.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. So, right, correct.
Okay.
Then they have the Lions. But I also think because after the Lions, the Chiefs get Rashee Rice back, that there is a level of, okay, let's say they lose to Baltimore and lose to the Lions. And they beat Jacksonville. And they're 2-4 getting Rashee Rice back. I still feel like the team psychologically will feel like, all right, now we're finally whole. Yeah, we're not going to have home field. We're probably not going to win the division. Let's just see if we can get in and be scary. That's one of the reasons that listen, I'm not going to panic about
down
either
on the
of
first few weeks.
Yeah, well, correct. Unless you are going to go as far as to say Kansas City, I fear, is going to miss the postseason. I don't think anybody actually believes they're not a terrifying team once the postseason begins, even if they get there by going 10-7. They got there by going 11-6 2 years ago and won the Super Bowl, going to Buffalo, going to Baltimore. And so I also think there is a level of, in the commentariat, offensive bias that is showing up in the way we talk about Baltimore and Kansas City. Kansas City's offense has been its biggest concern. Kansas City's offense kind of across the board is mid. They're average. They're 13th in this, 17th in that, 14th in this, 15th in that. They're just average. And that has caused massive concern. Baltimore's defense has been its problem, and they're awful in everything. And so the side of the ball Kansas City is struggling on, they're struggling to the tune of being average. The side of the ball Baltimore is struggling on, they're struggling to the tune of being horrible.
So,
go ahead.
With that said about Baltimore's defense, if if the offense still struggles, then what?
Yeah,
even with Worthy's coming back too.
So that's a good question. If they win a low-scoring game, then that is great. You know what I like? If they win the way they beat Baltimore in the AFC title game, 17-10, then and the offense doesn't cook, but they win, I don't care. I do not care if they don't, because but now I'm going to say a bunch here. If they lose, if Baltimore scores a ton and the Chiefs just can't keep up and they lose 28-13, something like that, that'll be concerning about what the Chiefs offense actually is and how much just getting Rashee Rice back will fix it.
All right.
I also have, and I don't know if statistically this has been proven or even it can be backed up or anything, but it feels to me like very often games take on a personality, and like one of the reasons Cowboys Giants was high flying the way it was one team's offense beget another team's offense. Does that make sense? Like it was that game led to the personality almost of that game was quick drives, deep bombs, you score, I score, you score, I score.
All right.
The very next week, that same Giants offense played a Chiefs team that was stuck in the mud, long drives, no explosives, and they didn't have any. So that's the same Giants offense, right? Now, the Chiefs defense is obviously better than the Cowboys defense, but not 35 points better, you wouldn't think. And yet that's what we got in that game. And so my point is this. I think the Ravens offense, I don't think this is going to be a 31-28 game. I think this is far more likely to be because the Eagles can be high flying and high scoring. The Chargers can be high scoring. Both teams have played the Chiefs, and the game has kind of taken on the personality of the current Chiefs, which is these long drives, fight for yards. And I don't think that's just because of the Chiefs defense. I think that, again, I can't prove it. And maybe what I'm saying right now sounds weird, but I just think sometimes games take on, like I said, a personality almost. And there is somehow a butterfly effect of one team's offense hitting deep shots, leading to another team's offense hitting deep shots. It's just from because here's the other thing that's really weird about kind of consuming football and how we feel watching it. So you would agree, DeMonze, that Chiefs-Giants game, the Chiefs offense looked hard to watch and stagnant.
Yeah.
Right? It was a bad offensive game. And they finished with 20, it would have been 23, but 22 points because they missed the extra point.
Yep.
You would agree, so the Chiefs in that game scored 22. You would agree that Ravens-Lions, the Ravens offense was moving the ball seemingly at will, and the problem in that game wasn't the offense.
Yeah.
And you would have felt that way even if they didn't get that garbage time touchdown, when they were down 14. The Ravens, going into garbage time of that game, had 24 points. And it felt like the offense was doing whatever it wanted. The Chiefs fought and clawed and ugly football, scored 22 points, and it felt like the offense could do nothing. So again, I'm kind of almost talking about like ideas here.
Giants.
No, I agree, but the Giants defense is supposed to be decent.
Yeah.
And we don't look at the Lions as a great defense. And so the point I'm making is sometimes you can score 24 points and it can feel like your offense was humming. And you can score 23 points and it can feel like your offense couldn't do anything. And so I just feel like we are going to get a slugfest in Kansas City where every yard is going to be, hard to get. And here's the other reason. I don't think Baltimore's pass defense is as bad as the numbers suggest. I think their run defense is horrible, truly horrible. And I just don't know if the Chiefs have the personnel to take full advantage of a horrible run defense. Like that was the story of Ravens-Lions, was the run defense. And so if there was ever going to be a time for Pacheco to look like Pacheco from a couple years ago, this would be this game. I just don't know if they have it. I don't know. But
would you say
I do? Go ahead.
Who do you think on your team needs to step up the most in this game?
I think this is, what have I said about Travis? He's got 5 or 6 great games left in him. Yeah. This would be a good time for one of them.
Yeah.
He's had a rough start to the season. He has owned this matchup. Getting Worthy back should open things up in the middle of the field a little bit more. And Tyquan Thornton, all of a sudden, you have to take him seriously, at least as a deep threat. And so this would be a nice Travis Kelce game. I think Kansas City is better
while
than
Worthy's been out. Yeah, that's a crazy question, but you think Worthy coming back?
I'm sure he's felt badly.
Positive,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And now listen, I'm going to be holding my breath on the Worthy stuff because we're only a few weeks removed from that shoulder dislocation, and the further down the road we get, the stronger that shoulder gets. So I don't think Worthy's going to be like super featured in the game plan, but I think just having him out there should help quite a bit. No surprise here. One of my picks on the gambling show is going to be the Chiefs plus the points because I think they're going to win. DeMonze and I we're going to figure out some type of wager to make on this game. It won't be financial, but some type of wager to make on this game tomorrow during the gambling show. I have some ideas.
Not
I think
financial?
you have some ideas. That it feels like it can be financial on my end. But I won't accept the request or the transfer if it's from you. I'm not taking money from you. So it's got to be more, it's got to be, You are going to have to do something, and I'm going to have to give something, is I think the way to make this bet feel
manual labor.
equitable.
Sounds
Something.
good.
We'll figure something out.